Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah. My name is Lucas, and currently I'm with Taipei Computer Association, and is part of the InnoVEX team. First, on behalf of our InnoVEX team, I would like to greet all of you a happy Chinese New Year and a happy Lantern Festival. And as you know, our InnoVEX team launches this mini saloon event from month to month, and we have already had 5 mini saloon events so far, with topics such as AI, blockchain, green tech, global startup ecosystem, as well as the corporate innovation. And this time, as our 6th mini saloon event, we will have the healthcare and biotech with ICT industry as our theme. And we hosting such cross-domain experts and representatives, as well as 6 outstanding startups with us today. So in addition, this year's InnoVEX will be held from May 29 to 31 at TWTC Hall 1. And for more information regarding the InnoVEX, please follow our social media account, which you can find flyers outside. So now I would like to introduce our moderator of today's panel session, Mr. Andy Chen. Mr. Andy Chen has a medical degree and is now working for BE Capital. BE Capital is a healthcare-focused investment firm based in Taiwan. Let's give him a round of applause.
Hello everyone, and thank you, Lucas. It is our great honor to represent BE Capital to be the moderator for this mini salon. And my name is Andy. I'm a doctor and now serve as associate at BE Capital. So at first, I want to share about my thought on ICT and healthcare's advantage in Taiwan. So according to National Geography, Taiwan ranked third in medtech worldwide. And as everyone knows, Taiwan has very good research and development ability of ICT industry. And for medical part, as a doctor, I can say that we have probably the top three medical faculty around the world. Taipei Veteran General Hospital and Tsai-Kun Hospital all ranked as top 15 medical center around the world. Therefore, I think in Taiwan, we have a very good chance to cooperate between the ICT industry and medical faculty. And I also want to introduce my colleague Tina. Tina, okay. Tina, over there. Yeah. If you have any question about BE Capital, you can also find Tina after the panel. So I think this is my brief introduction, and I'm going to start the panel discussion right now. And I want to introduce Paul Chen as a senior manager of WiAdvance Technology, and Professor Tsai-Kun as associate of National Taiwan University College of Medicine, and Professor Tang-Long Shen as professor and director of Center for Biotechnology, National Taiwan University. And the last one is Jerry Chen, a senior director of HTC DeepQ. So at first, I want to ask about Professor Lee. Can you share about how could the academic excellence of National Taiwan University leverage the development of Taiwan biomedical entrepreneurship, our advantage of ICT industry, in your opinion? Thank you.
Yeah, okay. First, I come from the College of Medicine, so I think what Andy just mentioned about National Taiwan University has 11 colleges, and two of the strongest college. One is on the engineering side, the other is on the medicine side, and both are in the top 50 of the world in ranking in the area. And in addition to the college setting, there are many centers. For example, the Biotech Center hosted by Tang-Long in that way. And we also have, like, for example, Precision Medicine Center, which hosts a lot of omic data and also health data center for that. So, and the research power inside. But for NTU, I think the two parts mostly can contribute to the society is that we can cultivate the people which need for the industrial and also for the academic sides. But for the industrial sides, we need the industrial help to bring their experience into the college. And the center, like Tang-Long's Biotech Center, will bridge this type of things. And we also have a R&D department, which bridging the industrial and also academic sides for that. And also we have another program, for example, collaborate with Stanford University called SPARK program, which try to bring the professors' know-how into commercialized products. For example, we make a device that or the monitor the engineering people who can actually design and then improve. They can be a better device. Commercialized, and we have garage programs that can make prototype, and couple with like a we can accelerate this into the commercial product. And hospital system is actually nice. We have a nice clinical trial system and many consultations around the Taiwan, and so the doctor knows what the patient needs. So the communication actually is very, very important, which is the center of the ICT. So I think that is actually, I think it's what the academic side can leverage the industrial side and contribute to the society. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. And for National Taiwan University's resources, can I also ask Professor Shen to share about the role of Center for Biotechnology in National Taiwan University? Thank you.
Thank you so much for this. And so, in addition, I also come from the National Taiwan University by the Center for Biotechnology, actually is located in the main campus. So, in addition to the medical school, the main campus we have a more diverse ecology in those academic research and also the students. So, as you know, even now, most of the company actually come from academic, right? So you got some know-how, you have some technology platform, and then you go out and then to spin off or you run your own company. But nowadays we need more new technology, and particularly how to do the interdisciplinary collaboration all together. So like today's forum, we try to bridge biotechnology, biomedical with the ICT or others. So Center for Biotechnology in the main campus, actually we are trying to coordinate different colleges such as the medical school, college of engineering, and also the life science, even the agriculture. So we already know the medical in Taiwan is very good in work, so just mentioned the previous. However, in Taiwan we also have very good biodiversity. So how we can put those resources into the business or incorporate to the biomedical. That's one of our advantages. And so Center for Biotechnology, actually we can try to coordinate all these kind of different discipline research or achievement all together. And so we got some funding from the government, for example, the Ministry of Education and also the Ministry of the Science and Technology. We try to have some education and bring different disciplines all together. And not only that, we also invite some people from the industry and come to university and then share their experience together with the faculty to the students. So that's what we are doing and try to give the students more, not only basic, but also more industrialized idea and how to bring all the diverse knowledge that learned in the university and really can contribute to the industry.
Thank you, Professor Shen. So after some thoughts about ICT and healthcare industry cooperation from National Taiwan University, I would like to ask Jerry to share about the project of HTC DeepQ. Can you share about some cooperation between HTC and hospitals in Taiwan? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I think most of you know that HTC was a mobile phone company, and maybe you guys use our phone as well. And the daily VR is one of the big investments to HTC as well. And HTC built out the top asset for the VR games applications. But most of you didn't know that HTC also has a medical department which we call DeepQ. And the name was from the deep learning. So actually from the name you can know that we are doing the AI and also the VR as well. And we use this technology to provide hospitals to facilitate their services, such as we have the Wan Xiaofang, which is the chatbot running on the line messenger. So we use that messenger to communicate with patients or the users. So for example, one day you feeling that is not well, and then you just use this chatbot to input your symptoms. And then this chatbot will tell you which department you should go to, and then provide you the registration system. And then just one click, you can actually register into this hospital. And then when the OPD time comes out, and the messenger also will tell you you should go to the hospital and remind you need to pick up the pills, and so on. So we use this AI to facilitate, to service patients in hospitals. And actually, the technology background is we have the symptom check, which is the technology. So because of the low reputation in Taiwan, we are not a doctor. So although we can diagnose the disease and the successful rate about 75% already, even 80%, but we still cannot diagnose the patient. So instead of diagnosing the patient, we provide them which department you should go to. So it's a workaround to provide the service to patients. So that's one of the major accomplishments that we already work with hospitals. And the other is the VR technology. And we use VR to try to change the way how a medical student learn from, for example, anatomy class. For example, we work with TMU, Taipei 医学大学, Taipei Medical University, and we build up the first and the biggest one anatomy classroom in TMU, and they use our VR anatomy application to change the way to let those students to learn how to get understanding of the cadaver, which is the in Chinese called 大体老师. So actually some, for example, those vessels and nerves you cannot see from this cadaver. Actually, you can read that, you can watch that from our applications. So that's much more easier for a student to learn those details from the class. Also, it's a new way to change the student to learn this class. For example, some teachers are here. They experience. I would like to share my experience as well. When I go to the college to give some talks, you can see that most of the students are not interested in what you are talking about, right? And sometimes they are playing their mobile phone. But think about that. If all the students are wearing the headset, they don't have any chance to play their mobile phone, right? So actually, they can interactive. As we said that when a learner, the best way for a learner is that there are three different ways to learn. One is from the listening, from the reading, and watching, for example. So if you combine these three, just like VR educations, you can interact with the objects inside, you can operate it, you can read a lot, and it's from the multimedia contents. So it's dramatically changed the way how students learn from this class. So the the interest of the students will largely increase from the class. So that's what we are trying to change. We cannot say that's the education flip, but we want to change a little bit from the education, medical education. That's what we are doing with the medical schools and the hospitals.
Thanks for Jeff's sharing. As a medical student before, I hope I can have the chance to use HTC's product, because when I was in medical school, we learned anatomy from lots of PowerPoint slides, but the slide is like a blank paper. I don't know the realistic anatomy structure of our human body. If I can have the HTC's product to learn, I would be a much better doctor right now. Thanks, Jerry. And I want to ask about Paul from WiAdvance Technology to share about how medical institutions can use data via your product BI dashboard to improve healthcare quality. Thank you.
And I come from WiAdvance, and we are a new company of Eastern Group. And we focus on data migration service for our customer. And we leverage data mining approach to rebuild our customer database, to build a unified data platform. That is very important for our customer to build their new service for patients. Smart hospital directory, they plan their patient information dashboard or nursing dashboard and interactive system for better quality medical service. And through the big data analysis, we help the decision level of the hospital to find out the way to reduce the medicine cost, the purchase cost, and to reduce some unnecessary prescription. So the data mining and the data tool is the first essentials for hospitals to go to the direction of smarter.
Thank you, Paul. Actually, right before the panel discussion, I have a chance to discuss with our panelists in a small room. We have talked about the gaps, challenges of cooperation between ICT industry and healthcare industry from industry point of view and academic institutions. So maybe we can share about our talk with everyone right now. So at first, I want to ask Professor Lee to share about your thoughts on the gaps, potential, and unique niche areas of development in Taiwan's healthcare and pharmaceutical industry from your point of view. Thank you.
I think because each profession or each way, like academia or industry, they all have their professional points, and the language need communication to break out. I think Jerry's example in HTC actually opened up one thing, that they consider the clinical procedure for the medical students, so that is how they can intervene using the technology into it. This is one part that ICT can help in education. But this is not only limited to the students, actually limited to the patient as well. For example, everybody has this iWatch, right? And if you have a Google Health, so you can monitor your data and it can remind you to take medicines. And this is like a small AI nurse to your own healthcare. This is on the education part in the medicines for that. You can also be for the research. Of course, you come from the research university and you can have all the omic data and you can collect that. And if you put it into a bigger picture in the hospital systems, the cost can be reduced by the proper management of the data sets and comparing different patients in our procedures, even or the image, how they behave and how they can do that. And so they can actually optimize a lot of the so-called medical therapeutic procedures and even to the personalized response. These are the niche that we can do in all the things that are important. Also, other example you can see, for example, the polio people. They are crippled in a certain way, and because of the physiological signal, it's weakened. So the ICT technology can take up those physiological signals and amplify that and ignore, just get rid of noise and so on, collect the essential data. So then you can incorporate this data into those equipment, such as the exoskeletons. And then you can actually help out them to move right or left by just picking up the minimum signal from the patient itself. Yeah, you don't have to control the brain. Control the brain is actually very hard at this current stage. But you can pick up those signals as a biomarkers for predictions and how the way for personalized and also precision medicine way, and you can combine all the omic data for this.
Thank you, Professor. And for Professor Shen, can you also share about your thoughts?
Yeah, so in addition to always I have to the other side. So TK represent the medical part, and I'm trying to more focus on the other biotechnology part. So in biotechnology, as you know, in Taiwan, the most popular or more business actually like a supplement or something like that. So As I said, Taiwan we have very good biodiversity, so we have a lot of micro can be useful as probiotics or to help to increase your health. But you know the scientists, so all the faculty in university doing research, you know, also have the original soul, trying to become a scientist. So most of the scientists actually is trying to have their research in very crazy and wild way, right? So it's very difficult for scientists really to make a product, because if make a product, you need a standardization, you need a mass production. So that's everything have to follow the regulation. But if you want to collaborate with the scientists, particularly the academic, and you have to endure this kind of crazy idea. But this crazy idea actually can provide a lot of innovation for your business in the long run. So you just don't want to have a one shot of the innovation and then destined for forever or 10 years, 20 years is impossible. So if you want to collaborate with academic, and you need this kind of compromise thing. So, but that's also the gap. So sometimes you talk to the faculty in the university, okay, you have the very good research, can we use this to make a product or make something? So in university, particularly in Taiwan, we are national university, we cannot make profit actually, right? So we cannot do the mass production. So we don't have that kind of sort. So we need some kind of research institution like ITRI, like a DCB to help to doing so. And so it's not the duty or the responsibility for the faculty in university. So that's the gap actually. But we can find out, particularly like now the Center for Biotechnology, we are trying to have a collaboration with DCB, ITRI, even some other government-owned research institute that can have that kind of intermediate, like a pilot factory, and to help to solve this kind of problem. And the other thing is a standardization. And government also have some kind of institute can help on that. So I guess that those are kind of understanding between from you guys, if you want to really reach to the scientists or the faculty in the university. Try to understand this way, but try to use their crazy idea to sustain your innovation for your company.
Thank you. And I also invite Jerry to share about maybe the challenge when HTC try to cooperate with hospitals in Taiwan. I think you have lots of experience.
Yeah, actually, I have a very broad experience. And just like Professor Lee said that in the maybe 5 years ago when I talked to the hospital doctors, I think like to say the language, the body language, and let me show you. They are talking to me like this way. Okay, what are you talking about? And what do you want to sell me cell phone? Because we are from cell phone company. And maybe 1 year or 2 years later, they start to listen what we are talking about. And after 1 year, when we work with them, they start to take notes. You know, the very big changes from us. But actually, we go through a very, very intensive interaction and the sparks and the very intensive discussions. Because we are all from different backgrounds. They are from the medical background, they are from the engineering background, and the thinking was very different. Okay? So how to get them together to stand on the same page and understand the same point? Sometimes they explain this terminology to us we don't understand. And so actually I have to read a lot of medical books to understand those things. Such as when we are trying to promote our anatomy applications, I have to read those anatomy books as well. So on our desk we all have those books. So from our side we have to compromise what they don't know, and we have to give them what we know. So that's very difficult to us from the beginning. But after sometimes I would like to give this joke that such like when hospital work with industry, I would like to say they want to get married, but the marriage is very difficult because everyone want to get married, and it's very difficult. But if you want to divorce, that will be more difficult, because this product is totally different. In the past, like the medical device, I'm not sure how many of you from the medical background or device providers. Those devices like CT, MR, those medical devices. If you want to sell into a hospital, that will be very difficult. But after you sell them something, and then that product will be used for 5 years, 10 years. Also the system as well. So it's very difficult to divorce between them. So that's the very difficult, different culture from what we did to the consumer market. So that we learned from the medical market. And after years cooperation with hospitals, now we know what they are talking about. And then we can work together to think about something like Wanxiao from this chatbot. Because when I saw this chatbot, I see it's MSN. Actually, many years ago, it's not a new technology. But how come we can use this to service our patients or customers? So one day, our engineer come to me and say, okay, maybe we can use this to convince doctors and let us to give these patients some advice. Okay, and I say, okay, let's go. And then at the end, the doctors accept our very crazy ideas because doctors they have to make sure everything. We say in Chinese, 人命关天. So the human's life is very precious. So we cannot ignore every details. We have to do everything perfect. So when we provide this idea to them, they cannot believe that, they cannot accept that. But after maybe 6 months later, we provided the first the test application to them. They are very surprised. How come you can come up with this thing and then even do that better than I thought? Because when our team, we have the very good medical user experience team members. They are from very good medical backgrounds and they are all designers. And from the user-centric design to think about, and we follow, we track, and we talk to many patients to understand the pain points in hospitals. We go to hospitals to interview every patient there, and then understand their pain points. Most of them spend a lot of time waiting for the OPD. And so we are thinking if we can reduce the time and let them do this very easy, that would be great. So that's why the idea come out to provide them the chatbot. So the chatbot not only provide this service, but also we have the clinical function inside, which is the symptom check, as I said. So in all that, I have to give you guys some advice that the language is very important. I mean, you need to really understand what doctors said and try to use the way they can understand to communicate with them. That's my experience.
Thanks, Chen. I can really sure.
Sorry, I think what the NTU is doing right now is bringing the multidiscipline in different way. For example, the EE in computer science will cross-talk with College of Medicine and giving fundamental knowledge about the AI to the medical student in a young age. These type of things can be happen in education systems, but we also need the industrial people to come to share the experience on that. And it can be in a form like today, which we have actually crosstalk in a short times. It can be a platform like an internship as well for that. Just sharing experience, or like you when you are leading your younger colleague to your accelerator, things like those. The most important thing, as Jerry said, is you have to understand their language. I think the technology people has their thinking. They have computation thinking. communicable language. And there are certain things that we cannot break, which is the patient's rights. And that is very important. And that has to be respected. It's not doctors' fault for that. So that is, I think, is part of the part. And the other thing I think you mentioned while we are chatting is the policy and regulations. When you go into a hospital, you are not going to see the patients. You are actually going to talk and how to improve the drug. Yeah, that's what I want to add.
Thank you, Professor Lee. And for me, I think the language is very important for me. With medical background, if I want to work with business background engineers, at first I don't know how to communicate with them because it's so hard for me to explain a medical term to normal people. So I think we should have an open mindset to respect our expertise and try to learn about maybe engineering and business. Then that's the good fundamental cooperation. Thank you. I also want to invite Paul to share about maybe the challenges and difficulties when WiAdvance technology try to cooperate with hospitals.
We have experience to help our customers from their data platform from the IT structure to hybrid cloud architecture. That is because we are the cloud solution provider to help customers. Because there are so many new application service in public cloud. But in hospital, we need to comply, to follow the compliance as data should be updated. Yeah, so we build up a hybrid architecture for the hospital and make it possible to apply some new service in public cloud, like some genomic tools or precision medicine. So this is a new solution for cloud service.
Thank you, Paul. And for cloud technology, it has been a really hot topic right now, especially for smart hospital. So can you share about how cloud technology can help hospitals to achieve the goal of smart healthcare?
Okay. As I say that our cloud service is everywhere, but sometimes we have some trouble to integrate the different data sources from different legacy systems. Yeah, so we need to do some preparation from the current system to adopt the new service in the hospital.
Thank you. So I'm associate in BE Capital and BE Accelerator. I have to help our startup teams to try to work in hospitals and cooperate with doctors. So I wonder, can Jerry share about what steps do you think is the most important or to facilitate the cooperation between ICT startups or maybe ICT industry and hospitals or healthcare industry?
Okay, I think I just have 2 cents to give you guys. The first sense was a triangle. Why I say a triangle is 3 points. The first point is the cost. I think for cost, we all know that we have to lower the cost. So I think every product is trying to, in Taiwan actually, trying to lower the cost and use the lower cost to provide the same quality. So which the second point is quality. But sometimes if we lower cost, the quality will relatively low as well. So you have to try to maintain the either similar quality with a lower cost or with the same cost but better quality. So that's the 2 points. But the most important one is the third, which is the accessibility, which becomes a triangle. And the accessibility is that how to give the user or the user could get those services. So sometimes if you increase the cost or increase the quality, and the accessibility will be impacted. So how to maintain this triangle in a very balanced status, that would be very important. So since that is difficult, so we believe we use technology may change the algorithm or the formula of the triangle. So for example, we use AI to provide a service to hospitals. For example, a medical center there are about 10K patients a day for medical centers for the OPD. So as you know, they have to use a lot of people to serve those patients. So we try to use AI, the chatbot, to provide a service to try to reduce those people. They don't know how to register or which department to register. So that's one way we try to improve the quality or lower the human cost on that service. So that's the first thing I would like to share with you. So the triangle, remember that. And the second, also 3 points. I think the first 2 points are very, everybody knows that, which is the technology. As I say, you have to, usually a startup, either you have a very good technology, or you have the second point, which is the business model. You have a very good business model or very innovative business model to change something in the world. So that's two major, and I think it's a fundamental problem or the factors you start up a new company. But the third one, which is the let me see, the policy, as Professor Lee said. Think about that, because you are getting into the medical or the healthcare industry, the regulation or the law you have to exactly comply. Otherwise, when you come out your products, that could be maybe waste your time after 3 years, or even become the garbage because you cannot fulfill the law, the regulation. So from the day one, remember that you have to, for example, if you are going to the FDA, from day one you have to comply the FDA process. Otherwise, when you already done all of your project or your products, you realize that you cannot make the standard of the FDA request, and then you have to redo that again. So that's 3 points I would like to share with both startups here. If you try to do the medical or the healthcare business, think about these points.
Thanks for Jerry's sharing, and maybe I can also invite Professor Lee and Shen to share about if startups want to cooperate with school like National Taiwan University. Do you have any suggestions for them? And also maybe the pros and cons of industrial and academic collaboration in Taiwan. Because I can see more and more startup teams in Taiwan come from school and they want to cooperate with like ICT company, but they may face some difficulties in Taiwan. So I would like to hear from you. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, I try to echo Jerry, just say, so the language actually is very important between the academic and industry. So probably many of you already have some experience. Yeah, it's kind of very pain. But anyway, but the language definitely we have to learn each other, right? So as Jerry mentioned, it's a story. So the faculty or the professor will also change their own language as well later on. But all this based on the patient. You have to wait. You have to talk with them more frequent. But fortunately now the government also noticed this, so they try to have some project, particularly like Gloria or so it's called try to make a window to help on the university faculty or the achievement resource and bridge to the industry. So in many big universities, including NTU, so there's a Gloria program. So they have office and try to gather all of the information of individual faculty and make a portfolio. So in the future, you can contact with the ILO, those Gloria office, and then try to help out you guys if you want to reach all the research achievement or even a pay for, even collaboration, and then can do it how the cooperation help out on all of you guys to reach this. But this all depend on the fundamental idea. So science actually is the foundation of biotechnology. So all technology is based on the research. So we have some contact with many young generation, then try to have startup or they try to have their own company. Once they receive or got some idea or some platform, then try to go out to have the company and start to raise the money or something. But don't forget to keep the relationship with the university because all of the new technology or ideas come from the research. Okay, so don't forget the science actually is the basis of the technology. So nowadays, as I just mentioned, the ILO in many universities, they trying to build up the platform and you have the contact point in the future. So there will be diminish the gap in the future. I hope so. Thank you.
So I think one thing I always speak with my student or my colleague is from very young age is that you have to build your own signature. And for example, people call me TK and call him Tang TL. And Tang-Long always said, pro and con, and to kill is to love. And I always said, no, speak to TK, everything is okay. So those are some of the things that within seconds you make impression to the people. And your technology you want to commercialize. I'm not from the commercial people, but I think one thing is that you really need to build your characteristic into charm, then you will sell. So that is the things that I think you want to sell for academic size. I think the comp is like in the company, it's the money talk, and which is the resources. And for us, it's the paper. It's all based on the paper things. It's also resources. Yeah. So these two things conflict because you want to publish, you cannot talk if you want to protect your IP. So the concept has to reach, and you have to evaluate the timing when you want to sell your signature or you want to sell your charm. It's different things. So pro can be con can be pro. It's yin and yang, which is there are different thinking. I hate to use the fanzuan terminology, the flip-flop of some sort of things, but everything has the base on two sides. Yeah, so physiology and pathology, it's actually all in your same body. So how you compensate this? I think in Taiwan, in addition to the health and also the ICT industry, our manufacturing is very strong. That is also an advantage. The other thing is our talent diversity parts, and also we have 1,000 years of clinical trial, which can make easy into the health products. So those things that I think can be considered to think about, and what we can do in the academic side is try to encourage the student to think in a way that if they want to go into the industry, they should try. And we are giving them the opportunity and courage. That is what we can do.
Thank you, Professor. And I would also like to invite Paul to give some advice to startup teams about how to work on the startup and or even cloud technology application of medical care.
In my experience, that I really realized that a successful project, if you don't involve the SME, it's subject matter expert, you cannot make it. because in my experience, sometimes we think we have very good technology and we are a high-tech company, but when you proceed a project in hospital, you find it's a different world because the physicians and the nurse, you don't understand the difficulty of the trouble they deal with every day. So we have to involve the practitioners in our project team to make the project successful. This is so my conclusion that the SME, the subject matter experts, the key success factor in the project, especially in hospital.
Thank you. So it is really great opportunity for me to talk with analysts from different backgrounds with ground experience. So for me, from the point of view of BE Capital and BE Accelerator, we also work hard to bridge the gap between ICT industry and healthcare industry in Taiwan. For example, we are currently working with Sichuan Hospital and Taipei Medical University to help ICT industries research and development faculties to enter hospital to gain feedback from like doctors and nurses to get direct feedback from the users. I think it would be a much better way for research and development product. And actually, we are also recruiting our second batch incubation team. We focus on AI in medicine, medical device, and smart hospital. So if you're interested in our accelerator, you can reach out to me and Tina later. Yeah, I steal some time to do some advertisement. Excuse me. Yeah. So we have about 10 minutes left, and since Professor Li and Professor Shen also mentioned about the importance of multidisciplinary planning team. Oh, sure. Okay, I think. Okay, it's a really precious situation for everyone to maybe give some problem to our panelists. So, anyone have?
So as Tang-Long mentioned, that we are actually trying to recruit the membership from the entrepreneurial sites. Also to build up the database for from the academic sides as well, so they can actually merge those two together with IP protected coding system. So, but right now, I think the floor is open to you. We just come here to share some experience that we have been working on, and we would like to hear if you have any suggestion or comments or anything that we haven't discussed that you are interested in. Perhaps we can answer a little bit one sentence. Yeah.
Sure. So, any questions from our audience? Hello.
Hi, this is Peg from New Zealand office, New Zealand office in Taipei. So I just remember you just mentioned, for example, for ICT and biotech to co-work, one of the issues you just mentioned, which is the data security, which is I actually worked in NHI, the WiAdvance, a long time ago, and then I remember at that time, back into 20 years ago, that was also quite discussion at that time. So I don't know, for example, within this 20 years, whether there's some improvement or in the regulation, or is that something we further encourage the industry to co-work with, let's say, hospital, or is that something improved already?
Okay, I still would like to share my bloody experience here. I think many years ago when we start to get into this business of the medical, we actually don't know anything about the regulation here. So that's why I recruit some expert into our team. But before that, when we do study on the regulation like privacy or this security issue, we found that the current regulation in Taiwan is quite still behind. I have to say so, still behind the world, and the government, but they are trying to trench, as you know, and so that's why we often to give some talks or discussion with governments such as with and even the 国发会. So for those government and departments, they would like to learn what we already encountered those problems and then try to fix some law for us. So I think many professors, they also already give some suggestions to the governments. So I think they already got that, and then they are trying to fix those problems. I think we don't have much time, can be west for now, and then they have to really catch up. And for example, our biggest neighborhood, China, as we know, they don't have much limitation on the privacy. So that's why they have a very great AI technology, something like face recognition. Okay, but that's true. They're already ahead all of the world. So I think our government already realized that. So they are trying to integrate those database in Weibo or those something like Jianbao. They have already tried to integrate those data and try to give some change some laws and regulations to give those industry and researchers more flexible way to use those data. That's why we learn about this.
Yeah, I think Weibo, Ministry of Health and Wealth, actually try to set up the third site for us interface for the data management. If the company guys or others, they can actually go to the certain center, and the center will have collaborative projects with universities or the hospital system, and then set up. Actually, the center is right inside the university. So those type of things can be done nowadays. And regulation-wise, now we have CDE. For that, you can actually consult with the CDE, and also like the Spark programs. It's also part of the solutions for that. But there are also some of the things that can need to be break. It's because everybody go to the hospital. If you want to operate, you have to sign consent, and the data is the same things. The IRB regulations and also others. But right now Taiwan has different consortiums collecting, depends on the basis of the disease. So you can actually go to the consortiums, and they will have a cohort database as a disease training set. So we can actually start from there. And I would recommend to the startup company, you need to have a consultations people which is have medical training in the indication that you want. So that is really, really important. Otherwise, you will be, in the end, you're making things for the cat, not for the humans. Yeah, not necessarily bad things. Cat may be very precious nowadays. Yeah, so those are the things that when you're starting, you have to do it right. But the data things, for me, it's that you have to clear the data. And nowadays, the data is important from the beginning, which is right ones. Otherwise, you have 10. Inside the 10, you have 5, which is a bad apple. Then you will have problems. Because garbage in, then, whatever amplifier you do, it's going to be the issues. But again, the patient's security information, it's really, really important. That is actually one thing, actually a big hurdle in that, and that I think doctor cannot do. I think the government has to do something on this in order to open up. We have nice national interest data, and that I think it's important. And all the prescriptions inside our hospital right now is in English. So I think the globalization and also things that we have very condensed populations. Those are the niche that we have. So we should focus on those things that we can do. That face recognition they didn't do because those things is fine. Because those things doesn't matter. The data quality is okay because it's the face recognition. Those things they can do. But we should focus on the things that we do as we saw expertise. Is the that is what I think.
Thanks, Professor Lee. And for Paul, can you give some advice for using medical data in Taiwan? Okay, so since it's our time for our panel discussion is over, so thanks for Jerry's body experience, and thanks Professor Shen, Professor Lee, and Paul, and thank you all for the question. Thank you.